I think my coworker is trying to kill me. The fluorescent lights hummed, a sound I usually tuned out, but today it felt like a dental drill against my skull. I rubbed my temples, staring at the spreadsheet blurring in front of me. Divorce papers. Tax returns. It all swam together. Emily used to say I was too good at compartmentalizing. Maybe she was right. Then David appeared. "Rough day, Mark." He leaned against my cubicle wall, a smile plastered on his annoyingly handsome face. David had started 3 weeks ago, a breath of fresh air in this stale beige purgatory. He was always cheerful, always offering to help. Too cheerful, maybe. "Just numbers," I mumbled, trying to refocus. "Numbers can be a killer. Here." He held out a small, squishy stress ball. "Found this in the supply closet. Thought of you." I took it. It was heavier than it should be, and felt gritty under my fingers. "Thanks, David. Appreciate it. Anytime, buddy. Just trying to be a good team player." He winked and sauntered off to his own cubicle. Team player. Right. I squeezed the stress ball. A fine, white powder dusted my hand. I wiped it on my pants, a knot forming in my stomach. Probably just cornstarch, right? That was the first pebble in the avalanche. The next day, I found a discrepancy in a quarterly report, a misplaced decimal point that inflated expenses by a ridiculous amount. My report. I never make mistakes like that. I triple-checked everything. "You need to be more careful, Mark," David said later, as we were getting coffee. He was standing a little too close, his voice a low murmur that only I could hear. "Accuracy is kind of important in accounting, you know?" I forced a laugh. "Yeah, well, everyone makes mistakes. Just glad I caught it." He just stared at me, his smile unwavering. "Of course you are." Things started disappearing from my desk. Pens, my stapler, a framed photo of my dog Buster. Small things, easily dismissed. But the feeling that I was being watched grew stronger. I'd catch David staring at me from across the office, his eyes intense, unreadable. I started staying late, trying to catch up, trying to prove I wasn't slipping. Emily would call, her voice laced with concern. "Mark, you need to take care of yourself. You're working too hard." "I'm fine, Emily," I'd say, even though my hands were shaking. "Just a busy season." She didn't believe me. And honestly, neither did I. One morning, I arrived to find my car vandalized. A long, deep scratch ran along the driver's side, and someone had spray-painted the word "watch" on the hood. I called the police, but they just shrugged. "Probably just some kids," the officer said. "File a report, and we'll see if anything comes of it." I didn't mention David. I had no proof. That night, an email arrived in my inbox. Anonymous. Just one word, soon. I showed it to Sarah, the intern. She was young, maybe a little naive, but she was sharp. "That's creepy," she said, her eyes wide. "You should report it to HR." I hesitated. Mr. Henderson, the office manager, was all about appearances. He wouldn't want to believe that one of his star employees was harassing another. And honestly, I was afraid of looking crazy. "Maybe I'm just overreacting," I said. Sarah frowned. "Maybe not. I've noticed David acting weird around you. He's always asking about you, what you're working on, where you go for lunch. That's when I started to really worry." I tried to talk to Mr. Henderson, but he cut me off. "Mark, I appreciate your concern, but I need you to focus on your work. We have deadlines to meet." "I don't want to get human resources involved over," he said, she said nonsense. "This is a professional environment, and I expect all members to act professional. David is a valued member of the team." The next day, someone hacked into my computer. They sent out an email to the entire company using my account, filled with offensive jokes and inappropriate comments. Mr. Henderson was furious. He called me into his office and threatened to fire me. "I didn't send that email," I protested. "Someone hacked my account." He just glared at me. "I don't care how it happened, Mark. Just clean it up, and try to avoid any more incidents." I knew who was behind it. David. But how could I prove it? Sarah had been quietly looking into David. She found a news article about a man in another state who claimed to have been stalked and harassed by someone with the same name. The details were eerily similar to what was happening to me. "We need to find proof," Sarah said. "Something concrete that we can take to the police." We started digging, searching through company records, looking for anything that could connect David to the hacking, the vandalism, the emails. One afternoon, Sarah told me she found something. David had been accessing my computer remotely, using a program that allowed him to control my desktop from his own. "He's been messing with your files, sending those emails, everything," she said. "I have screenshots, logs, everything." We decided to print out the evidence and take it to Mr. Henderson. Maybe, just maybe, he would finally believe us. That's when David called me. "Mark, can you come to the storage room for a minute? I need your help with something. It's urgent." The storage room. It was a dark, dusty space in the basement, filled with old files and forgotten equipment. No one ever went down there. "I can't right now, David," I said. "I'm busy. It's really important, Mark. It's about the quarterly report. I think I found another error." I hesitated. He knew I was working on the quarterly report. He knew how desperate I was to clear my name. "Okay," I said. "I'll be right there." I told Sarah to wait for me in my cubicle. "If I'm not back in 15 minutes, call the police," I said. She looked worried. "Be careful, Mark." The storage room was cold and damp. The air smelled of mildew and dust. I flipped on the light, revealing rows of metal shelves crammed with boxes. "David?" I called out. No answer. I walked deeper into the room, my heart pounding in my chest. Something wasn't right. Then, I heard a noise behind me. A soft, shuffling sound. I turned around, and there he was. David. Standing in the doorway, blocking my exit. He wasn't smiling anymore. His eyes were cold, hard. "I know what you've been up to, Mark," he said, his voice low and menacing. "Trying to expose me? Trying to ruin my plans?" "What plans?" I asked, my voice trembling. "You wouldn't understand," he said. "You're just a pawn in the game." A pathetic, lonely little man. He took a step closer, and I realized he had something in his hand. A metal pipe. "I tried to be nice, Mark," he said. "I tried to be your friend. But you wouldn't cooperate. You wouldn't play along." "Stay away from me, David," I said, backing away. "It's too late for that, Mark," he said, raising the pipe. "It's time for you to disappear." He lunged at me, swinging the pipe. I ducked, and it whistled past my head. I stumbled backwards, knocking over a stack of boxes. I scrambled to my feet and ran, dodging shelves and boxes. David was right behind me, his footsteps echoing in the confined space. I reached the door and tried to open it, but he slammed it shut, trapping me inside. "There's no escape, Mark," he said, his voice filled with manic glee. "This is the end of the line for you." He swung the pipe again, and this time it connected. A searing pain exploded in my head, and I collapsed to the floor. Everything went black. I woke up to the sound of sirens. My head was throbbing, and my body ached all over. I was lying on the floor, surrounded by police officers. Sarah was there too, her face pale with fear. "Mark, are you okay?" "David," I mumbled. "He tried to kill me." The police arrested David. They found the pipe he used to attack me. They found the evidence Sarah had gathered. The screenshots, the logs, everything. Mr. Henderson was forced to suspend David pending an investigation. He looked ashen-faced, clearly regretting his earlier dismissals of my concerns. Detective Riley, a weary, middle-aged cop with a permanent frown etched on his face, interviewed me at the hospital. He listened patiently to my story, but I could tell he was skeptical. "Mr. Henderson says you've been under a lot of stress lately," he said. "Divorce, work troubles. It's possible you were just imagining things." I wasn't imagining things, I insisted. David was trying to ruin my life. He was trying to kill me. Detective Riley sighed. "We'll look into it, Mr. Peterson. But sometimes, things aren't always as they seem." David was released on bail a few days later. He pleaded not guilty to all charges. His lawyer argued that I was mentally unstable and that I had fabricated the entire story. I felt a small sense of relief, but it was fleeting. I knew David wasn't finished with me. I went back to my apartment, feeling exhausted and defeated. I just wanted to sleep, to forget everything that had happened. I opened the door and stepped inside. And that's when I saw it. On my kitchen table there was a small wooden box. I didn't recognize it. I opened the box, and inside there was a single object. A photograph. It was a picture of me, sleeping, taken through my bedroom window. On the back of the photo, there was a single word, written in David's unmistakable handwriting. Checkmate. It wasn't over. It was just beginning.